All right, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the MIRPH-1 by MirphDesigns out of Germany. And he sent these headphones out not just to me, but as a tour for the Bay Audio Enclave out of the Bay Area. And they will be putting on a HiFi Con show, which is kind of like community driven, but they also have a ton of actual makers that make it out to the event and to their events. Mostly community driven tables where you can hear a ton of different gear. Once again, I'll link that below so you can kind of hopefully get a chance to check out some really awesome gear and meet some really cool people. But anyways, this is a demo tour, so this will be going back down to the Bay Area Audio Enclave so that they can get this ready for that event for HiFi Con. Anyways, on to build and aesthetics, but first, this was a demo unit. No one's asked me to say or do anything other than my honest opinion regarding the MIRPH-1. So yeah, on to build and aesthetics. All right, build and aesthetic. Build, solid. 3D printed cup here, and then I think these are just off-the-shelf pads. And same with the headband, I believe, is probably like an off-the-shelf thing. I'm not sure about these parts here for the headband and attaching it to the cups. They're solidly made, aluminum, and I'm really impressed with the build quality there as well. 3D printed cups, I love as far as aesthetic goes. I love the two-stage or two-step kind of design here, and up here is where the driver's housed, and you can kind of see it in there when it's lights kind of shifted there. It's, you know, just a really pretty look to it. I really dig it. It has this almost retro future look kind of design, and I dig it a lot. Something to be aware of, and you can probably swap these out with other things, but the ones that I have here are that it's like a velour felt type material, and it has tons of debris. It's a debris magnet. So if you have any kind of, like, my daughter comes in here with her stuffies, so I get random stuffy hairs all throughout here. Daughter hairs, I get, you know, that kind of stuff. Lint, anything along those lines that's loose, or like my microphone dead cat hair kind of thing will just, I mean, one just popped off and landed on there. But other than that, these things are fantastic. I think they do a really good job with working with these headphones to kind of give them their signature sound, which we'll get into in a second. But yeah, overall build and aesthetic is solid. Like, I'm really impressed with these single DIYers. DIYers, is that even accurate? I don't think that's, I mean, that's kind of what they are, but single person headphone makers. And they've just been really kicking butt. Really impressed, really digging on this, and I hope more and more people start doing things like this, because it really helps get more and more product out there that are usually cheaper and really high quality and really good sounding. So anyways, yeah, build and aesthetic is fantastic. I really dig on it. Sorry, back to the aesthetic. That retro future kind of look of the design that he did with the cups. And also, real quick, if you can see, there's like this really pretty paint job he did, which almost has like this wet look to it, like the way that it has like this texture, and I'll have it in my pictures throughout the video here, but really love the texture and the finish. It's just lovely. So yeah, that's build and aesthetic. I just dig on these. These are really solid, really quality, and I'm impressed. So yeah, on to sound. All right, so for sound, this is a this one's a unique one, and I had a discussion on on Discord and with a couple other people, and I don't really like comparing headphones to other headphones because it's kind of a disservice to both headphones to some level. But I understand why it's there's a good pros and cons to that, because pro is, you know, people have an understanding of what I'm talking about because they can kind of relate it to something else. But at the same time, most, like 90% of the time, headphones don't sound the same. Even if they're compared together, they're always going to be different, or they should be different unless they're exactly the same headphone. So with that caveat out of the way, the MIRPH-1, to me, if I was to compare it to something, it would be the HD650s, and even someone else brought this up too, the clears. And I actually would say the OG clears, but I feel that it more comes in line with like a combination of those two, because it's the HD650 without the veil so much, and so which would combine with the clears, but it has that warmth, and there's a lovely low end and kind of bassy punchiness to it. MirphDesigns, he was telling me he's a bass head, so that was kind of the design ethos when he was tuning these headphones. And they're warm. They aren't overly done either, which is actually really nice. So they do have that nice bass sound signature without being kind of overblown like super bass cannons. They're actually pretty balanced for being more bass heavy, which I really enjoy. Overall, fantastic sound quality across the board, but I would say this headphone as a TLDR is, when I first was getting into the hobby and the HD650 and the 600 and all that fun stuff, the HD650 was, you know, lauded as this amazing, the headphone to get. And when I was reading all those comments and before I got the HD650, this is what I was expecting to hear, if that makes sense. For all the hype and all that fun stuff, this is more of what I was expecting to hear, and I'm not the biggest fan of the HD650. Not that it's bad, it's just, I have other things that are just better than it, you know, and so I never really keep one on hand for longer than, you know, a couple months at a time. After every once in a while I'll get one in hand, but I can never just seem to keep a hold of them because I just never use them. I never really dug on the comfort that much, and the sound signature was always veiled or muddy-ish, and I just really didn't get along with them for whatever reason. That's a personal preference, so it's not a slam against the HD650 or people that love that. It's just personal preference. Whereas the MIRPH-1 really just hit all those notes that I really enjoyed about the HD650, or what I was expecting from it. Whereas, you know, the mids are, you know, rich and warm, and the highs are crisp but don't get overly done. They're never really sharp, or you know, it's really mellow and tame up top, and the mids are very warm and very easy to get along with, and the low end has, to me, I'm a bass head, so mind you, just this nice, lovely, rich low end that, fantastic. I can totally relax with these. I have been relaxing with these, listening to tons of different music, and was just having a blast. That's kind of my thoughts on the basic sound signature of it, if you wanted a comparison piece. But there's so much more than just, oh, these are a better HD650. I think that they have their own unique characteristics as per, you know, some individual person tuning them to their likes and what they hope other people will enjoy, which I do enjoy. I think these are fantastic. And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, if you're in the Bay Area and you're around February timeframe, and like I said, I'll link below, if you can get to HiFi Con, you can hear these yourself on a bunch of different gear, and granted it'll be in like a, you know, open area, and you know, the noise factor, but you'll at least be able to hear them and get an idea. But moving on from there, some of the tracks that I've been listening to a lot lately that I've been really digging on, obviously I'm going to use it, I used it in the previous videos as well, but Squabble Up by Kendrick Lamar. I'm looking at my Cobus over here. Fantastic for that low end, and just that, the bass, obviously the beats as well. And then I also really have been just digging on this Blanco White Olala, and that's more for that vocal range and like the guitar, and just it's a very lovely sounding track. It's more of like a folky kind of sound or track. And then another one to try to check out just for more of the like kind of like a bluesy kind of jazz kind of deal is this Django by Percy Heath. And I'll link all the songs below. And these are just some random tracks just to try out, just to try them and see what you think about it. But just pay attention to the different parts of the tracks that you're listening to kind of get an idea of how these will play for you. These are definitely more warm and rich, and I really enjoy that, and not overly warm, but they have, I would say that the tuning is not neutral, not super warm, but, and I wouldn't even say neutral warm, it's definitely more on the like warm, but it's warm leaning neutral instead of neutral leaning warm, if that makes sense. So it's more in the warm category, but it does lean a little more neutral in the upper mids and highs. Fantastic sounding headphone. And moving on to who I think these are for, honestly, everybody, man. These are another one of those ones. If you really like rich mids, warm sounding headphones, and really kind of more of like a bass heavier sound signature, or if you really like the HD650s, but you really found them to be, one, very uncomfortable, because these are extremely comfortable. They're super cushy. The memory pad on the cups here or on the pads is excellent, but the sound signature is that doesn't have the veil that the HD650 is notorious for having, and I just really enjoyed these. So if you're looking for something like a step up from the HD650, but you don't want to go crazy, these are great. One caveat to that is I didn't find these to be the best with gaming. So not my favorite. I was using them almost exclusively for gaming for the past like week and a half now, and they do the job, but they definitely don't have the best stage and imaging as far as like picking up like wide stage, that kind of thing. And it's not horrible, but for gaming it's not the best. As far as for listening to music, I had no problem with kind of a staging, but it's definitely more of that traditional headphone kind of staging where it's not super wide, and the imaging is good, but it's not as like crisp or precise as some of these other kind of like it's no HD800, it's no HD700. It sounds really good for just listening to music. I love it with jazz, blues, hip hop, folk music, acoustic. I mean, I listen to the gamut as I always do, and I would get lost with these. Like, I fully relax listening with these, and it's amazing. I really enjoy when a headphone can just get me into the headspace of just like lean back, listen, and have a good time. So these definitely do it, and I really, really love them. Final thoughts, I guess I kind of already did. I really like these a lot. Highly recommend them, and you get an opportunity to try them if you're in the Bay Area here in February for the HiFi Con. And if they ever show up in any other kind of event, or if you have friends that end up getting them or something like that, definitely recommend giving them a try, because these are a solid set of headphones, and I'm really, really impressed with across the board with the build, the sound signature. Really good headphone. In fact, I was talking, and both MirphDesigns and HiFi for All's Nick, they were discussing it, and they both actually have each other's headphones, and they actually do complement really well. Whereas the Dahlia is kind of like that do-all, and it's really good for gaming, has really good imaging, and really like good transition from gaming to listening to music, and that's like kind of like everyday thing. Whereas the MirPH-1s, I felt more of like, okay, now I want to just relax. I want to have a whiskey. I want to, you know, chill, listen to some blues and some jazz or some hip hop, and I just want to relax, and I just want to. Whew. These did it, man. And so they're a great compliment in that sense. So yeah, just a fantastic headphone. I think that anybody would be stoked with these. With that, I will let it go on to everyone having a great morning, afternoon, or evening, and I'll catch everybody on the next one. Cheers. By Murph. Well, what on the flip, dude? All right, we can do this. We can do words. Words are things we can do. We should be able to do words. Anyways, the words. Movnica. Ah, God damn it! I can do this. Cheese and rice, Tyler. Get it right. What are you doing?